I'm gonna lay out the rules for while you're here now. You will always call me Daddy. Lay down on the bed. Do it. Be quiet.
The story begins with Kara Robinson waking up at her best friend Jess's house. The girls are excited because they plan to spend the day at the lake. But before leaving, Jess needs to water the flowers and take a shower. To save time, Jess asks Kara to help water the flowers so they can leave sooner. Kara steps outside and begins watering the plants in the front yard. Just then, a car pulls up near the house. A strange man steps out of the vehicle and slowly approaches Kara.
Are your parents home?
No, actually, this isn't my house. This is my friend's house.
Without warning, he pulls out a gun and orders her to do exactly what he says. Terrified, Kara obeys as the man forces her toward his car. He opens a large storage container in the back seat and orders her to climb inside. A few minutes later, Jess finishes her shower and comes outside, but Kara is nowhere to be found. Meanwhile, the man drives Kara to a quiet, deserted area and stops the car. He gets out to grab some rope from the trunk, but at that moment, Kara sees a chance to escape. She runs as fast as she can, desperate to get away. However, the man fires his gun, forcing her to stop. Realizing she can't outrun him, Kara decides it's safer to cooperate for now. The man ties her hands tightly and puts a gag in her mouth. Back at Jess's house, Jess becomes worried and calls Kara's mother to tell her that Kara has gone missing. Meanwhile, the man takes Kara to his own home. Once inside, he removes the gag and warns her to stay quiet. He leads her into his bedroom and starts asking personal questions. He wants to know everything about her family, where she lives, what her parents do, and whether she has a boyfriend. Kara nervously tells him that she does, and his name is Ryan. After questioning her, the man orders Kara to call him Daddy. When she hesitates, he points his gun at her again to make her obey. He then tells her to lie down on the bed. Sitting beside her, he begins taking off his clothes, forcing her to stay silent and motionless out of fear. Afterward, he takes her to the bathroom, insisting that they shower together. While in the shower, Kara quietly looks around, trying to notice every detail that could help her escape later. Meanwhile, Kara's mother calls her ex-husband to tell him that Kara has gone missing. She then contacts the police and pleads with them to start searching immediately. However, the officer on duty assumes Kara has simply run away and will return soon. But Kara's mother refuses to believe that. She's certain something bad has happened. Back at the kidnapper's house, the man gives Kara one of his t-shirts to wear. As he continues talking, he asks what school she goes to. Realizing that gaining information could help her later, Kara decides to ask him questions too. The man begins talking proudly about himself. He says he was a very smart student when he was young and even served in the Navy. He clearly enjoys talking about his life and promises Kara that if she behaves well, he will let her go home eventually. Later, he offers her a cigarette, but she politely refuses. He immediately reminds her that she must follow all his orders without question. As the afternoon passes, they sit and watch TV together. Kara notices several animal cages nearby and asks if she can look at them. She tries to sound curious and calm, asking questions to keep him talking. The man explains that he works with compressors, revealing more clues about his life. Kara quietly memorizes every detail: his job, his habits, his house layout, and the things he says. Once again, the man repeats that he'll soon let her go. But first, he wants to watch a movie with her. That evening, Kara tells him that she needs to use the bathroom and carefully asks for permission. The man allows Kara to go to the bathroom, but he leaves the door wide open and watches her the entire time. When she tries to wash her hands, she has to ask him, whom he forces her to call Daddy, for permission first. He then tells her that he's going to make dinner, but Kara says she isn't hungry. This makes him angry, and he reminds her that she must follow his rules if she wants to stay safe. Trying to calm him down, Kara offers to help clean the house while he cooks. He agrees and lets her sweep the floor. While cleaning, Kara quietly walks to the refrigerator and tries to memorize the phone number of the dentist written on it. She also notices the calendar nearby and carefully remembers the dates and notes written on it. The man just sits and watches her sweep the floor. When she finishes, he tells her to take off her t-shirt, keeping full control over her actions. Meanwhile, Kara's mother goes to the police station again. She desperately tries to convince the sheriff that her daughter could never have run away and pleads with him to start an official search. But the sheriff dismisses her worries, insisting that Kara will return home soon. Back at the house, the man and Kara sit together on the couch. He turns on the TV and points out the news, saying the police haven't started looking for her yet. With a cruel tone, he tells her that her parents and friends don't really care about her. Suddenly, his behavior changes. He becomes aggressive and orders Kara to get up and go into the bedroom. He says he needs to make a phone call and commands her to climb back into the container and stay silent. He gags her again and leaves the room. Inside the container, Kara starts to panic. She can't breathe properly and begins struggling. The man rushes back, removes the gag, and warns her that if she screams, he will kill her. After a few minutes, he returns again, pretending to comfort her. He tells her that he understands because he also suffers from panic attacks. Then he gives her a pill, saying it will help her calm down. Later that night, Kara sees the man opening a strange wooden chest in the room, though she can't see what's inside. When it's time for bed, he orders her to lie down and not move. He then chains her wrist to the bed frame and lies down to sleep beside her. Early the next morning, Kara wakes up first. Carefully and quietly, she works to free her hands from the chain. Once she manages to get loose, she slowly walks toward the door. She opens it as quietly as she can, steps outside, and finally runs into the street, desperate for freedom. Kara runs into the middle of the road and waves down a passing car. Two men stop to help her. Trembling, she tells them that she has been kidnapped and begs them to take her to the police station. When they arrive at the station, Kara rushes inside and tells the officer on duty that she's been kidnapped. She introduces herself and explains that she managed to escape from her captor. Lieutenant Roland comes forward and gently asks her what happened. Kara tells him that a strange man abducted her the previous day, threatened her with a gun, and assaulted her. Sergeant Jennings then questions the two men who brought Kara in, asking where they found her. The men can only recall the street name. They didn't remember the apartment number. Lieutenant Roland informs Kara that her mother had already reported her missing 17 hours earlier. He immediately calls the woman and tells her that Kara has been found safe. The officer then asks Kara if she remembers where the apartment is located. Kara says she isn't sure, but she's willing to return to the area and try to recognize it. Roland tells her that doing so could greatly help the investigation. They drive back to the neighborhood, but when they arrive, Kara becomes confused. All the apartment buildings look almost identical. The police stop a man nearby and describe the kidnapper's appearance, but the man says there are plenty of people around who could fit that description. Kara steps out of the car and tries to recall more details. She tells the officers that her abductor kept several animals in his apartment and that there was a large poster of a wolf hanging on the wall. Upon hearing this, the man they question suddenly realizes who she's talking about. He provides the exact apartment number, and the officers quickly head there. Meanwhile, Kara's mother arrives at the police station and is upset that her daughter was taken to the crime scene. But before the argument can continue, Kara returns, safe and calm, and reassures her mother that she's fine. At the suspect's building, the sheriff gives the order to storm the apartment. But when the police enter, they discover that the kidnapper has already fled. Sergeant Jennings then asks Kara to share everything she remembers about him. Kara explains that the man used to serve in the Navy a few years ago and that his wife is currently at Disneyland. She also mentions that he owns a parrot named Clyde, and she provides the name and phone number of his dentist. Finally, she adds that the man suffers from severe anxiety and regularly visits a psychiatrist for treatment. Kara recalls every phone number and name she saw while cleaning the man's house. Sergeant Jennings is astonished by her sharp memory and tells her that this information will be very useful in tracking down and punishing the kidnapper. Soon after, a doctor enters the room to conduct a medical examination. Kara has to undergo a gynecological checkup to collect evidence. Before the procedure begins, Kara quietly asks the doctor and the officers not to tell her mother about it because she doesn't want to upset her. Meanwhile, investigators search the kidnapper's apartment and make a horrifying discovery. Inside a box, they find several pieces of women's clothing. The officers immediately realize that Kara wasn't his first victim. There had been others before her. The police begin distributing flyers with the suspect's photograph all across the city. Sheriff Price later arrives at the station to speak with Kara's mother. He explains that the man who abducted Kara has a history of kidnapping and murdering young women, and Kara was meant to be his next target. He also criticizes Sheriff Steffens for failing to start a search immediately when Kara was first reported missing. Kara eventually returns home, and many neighbors gather to show their support. But the overwhelming attention makes her uncomfortable. She doesn't want people to look at her with pity. Sergeant Jennings visits her and gently explains that she shouldn't feel offended by their concern. everyone is simply happy that she's safe. Unlike others, Kara doesn't want to see herself as a victim. She is strong and determined to move forward with her life. Later that evening, she tells her mother that she plans to go see her boyfriend, but her mother refuses to let her go, still afraid of losing her again. Kara becomes frustrated and argues that she shouldn't have to give up her life because of what happened. Kara doesn't want to live in fear for the rest of her life. She just wants things to go back to normal, but her mother is still terrified and refuses to let her leave the house. Meanwhile, at the police station, the suspect's wife shows up. She tells the officers that she has no idea where her husband is and insists that he could never be guilty of such terrible crimes. But at that same moment, the suspect's sister arrives and reveals that he recently called her. He's currently hiding in a hotel. The police immediately set out to arrest him. Back at Kara's home, Sheriff Steffens visits her, but Kara is not happy to see him. She still remembers how he refused to search for her when she first went missing. He warns her not to act too brave because the kidnapper is still on the run and could come back for her. He also tells her that the man has kidnapped several other girls before, and none of them survived. But Kara shows no fear. Instead, she firmly tells the sheriff to do his job and catch him. Meanwhile, Sheriff Price receives an update. The suspect has escaped from the hotel, but the police are right behind him. They expect to catch him soon. Sheriff Price is amazed that such a young girl not only escaped from a dangerous criminal but also helped the police track him down. He goes to Kara's house and tells her that the kidnapper will soon be captured. He reminds her that she isn't a victim. She's a hero. He thanks her for her bravery and promises that she'll be the first to know when the criminal is caught. Later, Kara tells her mother that she plans to go to her boyfriend Ryan's baseball game to support him. Her mother still doesn't want her to go, fearing for her safety. But Kara insists that she wants to live a normal life again. She leaves the house and heads to the game. At the same time, the police finally locate the suspect. Soon after, the man is spotted on the street, and a chase begins. The officers quickly catch up to him, but before they can arrest him, he pulls out a gun and shoots himself in the head. Kara returns home unaware of what has happened. Her mother keeps the news from her that night. The next morning, she finally tells Kara that the kidnapper is dead. Kara becomes angry that no one told her sooner. Just then, Sheriff Price arrives to explain and apologize. Kara tells him that she wanted to look her abductor in the eyes one last time before he went to prison. But the sheriff gently tells her that she doesn't need to worry. The man realized his guilt before dying and understood that she had defeated him. Kara now knows she won't have to face him in court, and her mother no longer needs to relive the trauma. Before leaving, the sheriff tells Kara that he's never met a girl as strong and brave as her. He even says that one day he'd be proud to have her serve in the police. And with that, the film ends.